So Pashas Chayei
I
Sarah.
didn't know that this is like a cat's family chat here.
Tafshin Pei Dalet. Pashas Chayei Sarah. So I'm going to bring a few. I don't want to call them cute thoughts because they're very important, but they're a little cute as well. But I want to finish the end. I want to end off on not a vort bichlal, a Torah that's of infinite importance, Bezrat Hashem. So we'll save the best for last, so to speak. But let's in the meantime, let's enjoy some of the lighter things. Okay, so if you have a chumash with you, it's good, but it's not essential. Again, it's just come out that we're going to look at a few Or Chaims, just because that's where I'm at. V'yiyu Chayei Sarah Meir Shana V'esrim Shana V'sheva Shanim Shnei Chayei Sarah. They're the first pasuk, famous pasuk. And Or Chaim says, "Yitzrafim Amram Zal Anizka Shemeisa Ayudei B'Soira Ra Ze Yagid She'im Lo Hayim Ura Od Lo Chayim." That she died. He brings a whole bunch of different things, and he said that the reason why she died was because of the B'Soira Ra that the Satan gave her, that Yitzhak had almost been killed. Yeah. Lefi the Zohar, and whether he was actually shechted Lefi Panemius Torah. That's why he's shaykh to Machaya Mason. That's the we have Avram is Magain Avram, Yaakov is Kel Kadosh, and the middle one Machaya Mason. That's Yitzhak. And if you look at the Rashi there, the Rashi says, this is I saw what I would love to get my hands on this thing. But I saw this many years ago, about 15, 20 years ago, where just the actual Rashi says that, one moment. You look at the Rashi yourself. It says she saw that with hearing the Akeda, Shniz Damein Buna Lishchita, that her son was Mazmin was Mazmin for Shchita, and Ukimat Shaloi Nishchat, and he was almost not shechted. That's how she died. That's the Pashat reading of the Rashi. Yeah, and I'm telling you, one day Hashem will be mazaka me with it. But I heard this share from a Litvish Rav, like I said, 15, 20 years ago, and he went through endless, mamash, 15 or so points of how it had to be that Rashi understood that Yitzhak actually got shechted. Moiradika things. I can remember I'm not going to get into it now, but this was the first one, that she saw that Kimat Shaloi Nishchat. And everyone's like, well, they just read it quickly and you try and like pretend that it doesn't say what it says. But she saw that he was nearly not shechted, and that's why she died. But anyway, so the point was, this is what the Or Chaim said, is that if it wasn't for that news, she would have lived longer. It was that tragic news, that shocking news, that caused her to die. So he brings this beautiful chazal, V'omer Chayei Sarah, Ki tzadikim mechayim yemehem, v'harashoyim yemehem mechayim oisam. That the tzadikim give life to their days, and the rashoyim, their days give life to them. Because she ended up, like, in a sense, she was Masich Das, because she got such a shock about her son nearly getting shechted, that she didn't give that energy that she always gives into her days, and she was nifta. Whereas the Rasha, he doesn't have any energy. He's just taking. You know, that was the inyan of the lowest animal. You know what it says in the Gemara, what the lowest of all the animals is? The Yitush. Why? Because it's machnis ve'ena moitzi. It doesn't go to the bathroom. is the only animal that doesn't go to the bathroom.
What's a yitush?
I mean, in modern day Hebrew, it's a mosquito. I don't know if it's I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a yitush. Yeah, maybe it's a mosquito. It's an animal that eats, but it doesn't excrete. That's the definition of the lowest creature in all of creation. That it doesn't even excrete, because excretion, like manure, has a lot of it does good stuff. You look, if you look at what's it called, like wildlife documentaries, and look at the ecosystems that exist around the backsides of hippos and elephants and stuff. Yeah, it's moedic. It's like whole, not even cities, like worlds of eco. So there's an inyan of giving through going to the bathroom. So that's like the lowest level of giving, but it's still a level of giving. So the yitush, who doesn't even go to the bathroom, he's the lowest of all creatures. And now we understand the inyan of paroi, trying to show people they never went to the bathroom. He was intent on being the lowest of all of creation. Wasn't stunned. Understand? Because
what was the appeal?
The point is that if I don't go to the bathroom, that means I don't give anything. That's the definition of definition of the lowest level, whatever you want to call it, the lowest level. That's what Avraham, that's what Paro stood for, the opposite of Moshe, who was Kulu Onov. So anyway, so just if a nice thought for the table is, you could compare a Russia to a thermometer and a tzaddik to a thermostat. I love that. That's such a geschmacker thing to have. I heard that from a Shais Taub. What is that? That means that the tzaddik, he's kadosh, and he makes everyone else kadosh. Everyone who gets next to him, you can't help but just, it's like being next to a big bonfire and you just get set on fire. That's a tzaddik. That's called a thermostat. You determine the temperature of the room. The Russia, on the other hand, is like a thermometer. You just react to the room, not you. And that, by the way, is the definition of a cold-blooded animal. All snakes are cold-blooded. Cold-blooded doesn't mean they actually have cold blood. It means that they don't have a homeostasis. They don't have a is it called homeostatic system? They don't have homeostasis in their body, which means their temperatures fluctuate. That's what it means, cold-blooded. So sometimes they could be very hot and other times very cold. So that's the definition of the snake is a cold-blooded animal. And that's being called a thermostat, a thermometer. And that's the union of the days giving life to them not giving life to their days. Okay. So onward. So
before you jump out.
Yeah.
So again, just so I understand. So Sarah wasn't able to give her energy, and therefore that's why she passed?
For that, yeah, that's what Chaim says, that if it wasn't for this bad news, then she would have lived longer, because she was giving energy to her days.
And who's the one that says tzaddik?
What?
Who's the one that says tzaddikim gives energy into their days, and that's a tzaddik, and who doesn't give energy, that's a Russia? Who's the one that says that?
That's Chazal. The Or Chaim brings Chazal. He doesn't say v'oimroi. I think it's a Gemara. I think it's a Gemara. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Or Chaim says it anyway. Okay, so now this is a really nice. This is nice. This next thing. Okay, so it says when Eliezer comes to the he meets Rivka by the drinking trough for the camels, and I'm not going to read all the psukim, but it's really interesting because the Or Chaim says that when Rivka gave him to drink, yeah, it says that Rivka was choishesh for Eliezer, that because he was so tired from the journey, V'haflogas hashtia tazik, and drinking too much water is mazik. V'hi tzedekes, and she was a tzedekah, so sh'ara badata shiur sheyaspik l'shtiasoi v'loi rotzes l'hoisiv loi l'vayistakein ki ayv lo yish'a b'shtiasoi b'eis tzama'oinoi, that she measured out the water to give to him, that it would be just enough, because she didn't want him to come to a sakana, because a person who's yaif, who's tired from the derech, he will drink too much when he gets to drink, as that's the Maisa what happened lahavda with the, I don't know if I say lahavda in by the Shoah, when the Allies came to release people from the camps, there was mamash a holocaust of people dying from eating too much. It was a pachad. So that the Indian of drinking too much if you're thirsty, she was very choishish for that. So kadesh lo yachshov kidet sadam. Oh, that's going on. So she was choishish that he was tired from the journey, and therefore he would drink too much, and he would fall into sakana. But then it goes like this: Ukadesh lo yachshov ki letzad hamaatas hatoyrech niskavna. And she was choishes, so she gave him only a little bit of water, and she was double taking herself, and she said in her brain, in her mind, maybe he's going to think that I'm lazy, and that's why I'm not giving him more water. So I'm going to show him that I'm not lazy by giving more to the camels. Yeah, so it says, until they have their full share of drink. And she didn't measure it out for the camel. So Bekitza, she gave to Eliezer a very measured amount of water, because she was worried he would come to Sakana, but the camels, she just let them drink. So it's a very important klal, and this is the reason why babies don't overeat, whereas I'll talk for myself now, every time I sit down to a meal, I overeat, yeah, especially in the evening. It's ridiculous. Why? Everyone's got the same baya, yeah, it's crazy. Like I was gonna say. So yeah,
it's not a problem by me.
What's the Indian? Why is it that you overeat? You know you've eaten enough, and you're still. It's like you. My dad refers to it as grazing. He says when some of his grandchildren come to his house, it says they're grazing in my kitchen. But what's the Indian? What's the Indian? Once you've eaten a whole plate of food, and you even know that the Tosefus Oichel is going to make you feel bloated and heavy, and you're going to sleep longer, v'chule, yeah? And you still go, why? Because you're trying to satisfy your mind, not your stomach. An animal doesn't have a mind to satisfy. So he stops when he's full, just like a baby. So when you see, the stomach has a real need for food, it has a real need to eat, yeah? Hunger's a real need. But the mind's needs are pseudo needs, especially when it comes to their interpretation of physical needs. You with me? So how can you fill a need that doesn't exist? You can't. If you're actually hungry and your mind is turned off, you will stop eating when your stomach says, that's it, I'm okay. But if a person's living in their mind, they're not trying to fill their stomach, they're trying to fill their mind. And the mind doesn't get filled by food. That's why that's going to be a Gehenna. That's a Gehenna. You know why that's Gehenna? Because that really is Gehenna. Because when a person is dissolved of his body, he loses his stomach, but he doesn't lose his mind. So if a person was eating to sate his stomach, when the stomach is taken away from him, he's got no need to eat. But if it was the mind that was longing for food, that goes with the person. That goes with the person when he leaves this world. That's called Gehenna. I have a good example of this. When I was a kid, I had my wisdom teeth out, and I had a general anesthetic, and I had to have you had to fast for like 24 hours before, whatever. And I wake up, I'm in this nice private hospital, and I wake up, I'm starving, yeah? And as I wake up, they roll the table thing over your bed, and it was this platter of like sandwiches that were just the most delicious looking sandwiches with all I remember the crusts has been cut off with cress all over, and it was just like, wow, what more could you wish for? You wake up starving mamash, and all of a sudden you've just got this plate of delicious sandwiches in front of you. And I went to eat one, and I couldn't eat. My mouth, because of the surgery, having the wisdom teeth removed, I had zero feeling in my mouth, and I just couldn't eat. So I had to sit there starving, looking at a plate of delicious sandwiches. That's cool. That's Gehenna. That is Gehenna. That really is the definition of Gehenna. A taiva that can't be sated. And that's why Gehennas are very much a place in this world, because taivas can never be sated. They're not real. So there's a whole lot more to say about that, but I'm gonna jump onto the next thing. So much to say. One more quick thing, and then I'm going to get into what I really want to talk about. It says by the pasuk in Kaf Daled 24-29, Kaf Daled Kaf Tes, it says that Rivka had a brother, Ushmoy Lavan. His name was Lavan. Because Lavan al Ish Achutzel Ha'ayim. And he ran to Eliezer or whatever because he saw him. It's interesting. The Or Chaim picks up on a very interesting little dikduk thing here. The Or Chaim loves dikduk. He grabs onto all these little things, and he says like this: "Divrei Hemzal, b'medrash Rabbah, I think." Listen to this for profound. Everybody, before we do this, everybody's got a basic musag of what the difference between shem and etzem is. The difference between name and essence. Yeah, it's maybe Donny, maybe your wife mentioned it to you. I know that when my wife goes to a shir, she unloads the whole thing on me. So I'm assuming you maybe.
She didn't unload. She just told me she loved it. No, but I mean, the name, right? Name is just I would think, just a title, whereas essence is more of a substance.
Essence is who you are, and name is what you've got. If you want to, I mean, we could talk about it for a long time, but you have a name. But you're not a name. You're the one who has the name. So the name is about you. There's the you. Okay, again, we could talk about it for a long time, but some of us, I think, are holding in the Inyan. But anyway, so listen to what the Or Chaim says in the name of the Medrash. Sha'amu ki tzadikim shemam koidem lahem. By the tzaddikim, their name comes before them. K'dechsiv u'shmoi Boaz v'shem ha'ish Elimelech. Aval ha'rashayim heim koidmim l'shemam. But the Rashayim come before their name. Dechsiv Novel Shemoi, the name of a Russia, Novel Shemoi, from Shmuel Aleph. What's the inyan of the tzaddikim, their name comes before them, and Rashayim, they come before their name? And it's funny because in this case, the reason why I brought that is because it says Shemoi Lavan. It brings his name before him. So that's Midas Tzaddikim, and then he explains why that was. I'm not going to get into that, but what's the inyan of the name of the Russia coming before him, and by the Russia, no, sorry, by the tzaddik, the name comes before, And by the Russia, he comes before the name. So I think you can answer like this. In Dikduk, there's an Indian called smichus. Smichus means like, how do you say land? How do you say land in Hebrew?
Eretz.
No.
Adama?
Eretz is
Adama.
ground.
No. The word Eretz.
Adama,
That's not,
right.
No. Aretz.
Oh.
It's
Aretz.
Eretz Yisrael. But I'm standing al haaretz. Like,
Right.
how do you say house?
Bait.
Bite. How do you say library? Or how do you say school?
Beit
Sefer.
Beit Sefer.
Beit Sefer. So it takes a spelling change. I know it's just the Nakuda, but that's called a spelling change. That's called smichas. That's why Bereshis is whatever. But it's Eretz Yisrael as opposed to Aretz Yisrael. It's Beis Hamedrash as opposed to Bias Hamedrash. It's it happens in like everything for loads of stuff. Yeah. When the noun that's when you put two nouns together. So you have Beit Sefer, the house of, or Beit HaMedrash, the house of the learning. Yeah. When you put the name first, when you put the name first, the name is given in context of the other noun. So Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. What's Ikka, what's Tofel? Israel's Ikka. The land is in context of Israel. That's how smichus works. When you put the noun first, that when you've got two nouns, the first noun is in context of the second noun. You with me? So now think about that. By the Russia, he comes before his name. And by the tzaddik, his name comes before him. By the tzaddik, his name is a detail in his metzius. It's something that he has. This is so deep. In the Russia, he is a detail in his name. He's lost in his name. That we could give a whole show on that, but I'm Maven Yavin. People get that? Yeah.
No.
No?
Can you repeat it?
Well, okay, I'll regular achas one more time. That when we have two nouns together, the way it works is that the first noun is tofel and the second noun is ikka. The first noun becomes in context of the second noun. So like we said, Eretz Yisrael, it's the land of Israel. Israel's ikka, and land is secondary. That's the land of Israel. You could have the land of Mitzrayim as well. You have the land of wherever. So when you've got two nouns, the first one is tofel to the second one, the kitza, which means by the Russia, by the tzaddik, he puts his name comes first, and then he comes second. So what's ikka, what's tofel? If you want to understand his name as what he has, and him as who he is, then by the tzaddik, what he has is tofel to who he is. By the Russia, who he is tofel to what he has.
It's like you could say by Ishmael, he was known as a para Adam. Right? So para Adam, the para is the description and the Adam is secondary.
No,
so
it's the opposite.
I know, but does it work? It doesn't work there.
Well, no, para Adam. I don't think para Adam to say that. That's it. So That's a very deep thing. That really is the essence of. See, we're waiting for the day. What day is it that we're waiting for? The day that he and his name will be one. That's what we're waiting for. Right now, he and his name is not one. His name is all the stuff he has. That's called this world. And he and this world are not one. That's what we're waiting for. Okay, this last thing that I want to get into is
just say an answer for that is para adam is a shame. It's a description of something. It's not a name. It's a description of your shmo.
I'm not sure. I say that it's not such a kasha either way, but it's worth looking into. I'm sure you'll be zecher to some payros. What we're going to say now is going to give you some chizuk.
All right, go.
Okay, so we're going to go until like whatever. But this is very important. We're going to try and understand what is the Torah Shabbat Peh. Okay, it's a little bit of a doichek that I'm fitting it into the parsha, but it's not like crazy a doichek. But it's very, very important. This parsha is the first kinyan in the Torah. The very first kinyan in the Torah is Avraham buying Maras Machpelah from Ephron. So I really wanted to talk about the whole inyan of being koine something. What does it mean to be koine? And you can understand it very easily by the kind of feeling that you have, lo aleinu, if a person loses his wallet. Or nowadays it's the telephone. Although the telephone is weird because you can just like press a button and you buy a new one and the whole thing's back again, no? But anyway, but when a person loses their wallet or something that they own, that feeling is a feeling of it's like a miniature kind of Avelus. Something's been taken from, you've lost something of yourself. And that's what kinyan is. Kinyan means you make something of you. It becomes you. If you truly acquire something, it means it becomes of you. It's now yours, which means it's of you. It actually, see, if we just think we're a body, then we're in a lot of shtick because that's not true. You're much more than just a body. And we could call it your name, really. There's all the things that you own, your house, your car, all your tchotchkes and putchkes, and all the stuff that you have. Yeah, that's also you. And a level of your nefesh is mispashet out into all of that stuff. And that's why when someone steals, if someone's to take something from you, you feel like that a little bit of you has gone. Everyone's with me? Okay, so there's a pasuk. I'll explain the inyan first, and then I'll read the pasuk and the Rashi from Mishlei. And this will be a chiddush for everyone, I think. So what's the Torah Shabbat Peh? I'll ask you a question. Like right now, you see, this is my shalat for my. It actually looks like my telephone. It's the shalat. It's the remote control for my mazgan. Yeah, my air conditioner. Now, if I put this over here, you can't see it. Do you think it's correct to call that hidden? Would it be a correct description to call, now that you can't see my shalat, now you can see it, but now you can't see it. Do you think we could call that hidden? So you can't. It's hidden from you. But it isn't hidden. It's hidden from you. So you go on. Okay, so why is it called Torah Soid? We have Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Soid, yeah? Kabbalah is called Soid. Why is it called Torah Soid, a secret? That means that if you learn it, Now it's not a side anymore. A secret is only a relative term, yeah? If you know a secret, it's not a secret. It's only a secret because he doesn't know it. But Torah Sod doesn't work like that at all. Torah Sod is a Shem Torah. It's an actual description of that limud. Two people could sit there and learn the exact same kapitel from the Eitz Chaim, from the Oitzvus Chaim, and they can both understand the Hebrew. It's very simple Hebrew. Yeah, they could both understand the words, and to one of them Hashem will reveal it, and to the other one he won't. And the one who's having it revealed to him, he's aware that it's being revealed to him. He's aware that this information, it's a bit of a doichet to call it information, but we will as a concession. This information is be'etzem secret. And I'm Zoicha right now, the Rebbeinu Shalom is being mezaker me with touching what this actually is. So it's not like the remote control that just is out of your view. You with me? It is actually secret, like a hidden thing, like God is hidden. Yeah, you don't see him. He is actually hidden. That's a description of him, so to speak, from our perspective. So what does it mean, Torah Sheba'al Peh? Because everyone thinks that we wrote it down, that Yehuda Nasi wrote it down. How could you then call it Torah Sheba'al Peh? If you can write it down, then how can you call it Torah Sheba'al Peh? You can't write Torah Sheba'al Peh down. Torah Sheba'al Peh is a description of what it actually is. It exists in the Yid. The Goyim have Torah Shebechsav as well, and they also have access to the Schottenstein Gemara and to the Living Nach and to the Art Scroll, Mishnayos. They've got access to everything, just like we have. So they have Torah Sheba'al Peh? No. So if you read the Hakdama to the Rambam, he explains that they wrote down Torah Sheba'al Peh. They didn't write down Torah Sheba'al Peh. What they did is they wrote down notes that reminded them of the Torah Sheba'al Peh that they received from their Rebbe. Now, when you read a book, that's really weird. When you read a book, a goyish, or you read a newspaper, okay, the way it works is you extract information from the words. You read the words, you didn't know what it was saying, and now you've learned what it says. That's called learning in this world. That's not what Torah is meant to be. See, the Torah Sheba'al Peh is really the Rebbeinu Shalom himself. You can't do anything from Torah Shebechsav. You can't do one mitzvah from Torah Shebechsav. Nothing. Maybe you'd be able to not eat chazir, but I don't even know if you'd know what chazir is without Torah Sheba'al Peh. You can't do anything. What's totafos? What is you can't do anything, literally nothing. So the Torah Sheba'al Peh is where it's at. It tells you what you can do, what you can't do. It has all the stories anyway, and it gives you all the rich detail of all the stories, and it's everything. So the question comes out. The original question was, oh, I believe in the Torah Shebechsav, but the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Yeah, but really, a frum Jew should be asking, why do we need a Torah Shebechsav? Everything's in the Torah Sheba'al Peh, so why do we need Torah Shebechsav? So the Pasha answer is that if it wasn't for the Torah Shebechsav, the Torah Sheba'al Peh would be lost within a generation, because it would just have nothing to hold it together. It would have nothing to keep it consistent. but really the deeper understanding, why is it called Torah Sheba'al Peh? What's the peh? Is when we point to the Torah, for Hagba, what do we say? Zois Torah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Hashem Biyad Moshe. From the mouth of Hashem. And Moshe wrote it down. So the Torah Sheba'al Peh, it's above the peh. What's above the peh is the mind. That's where the mind of Hashem is really at. That's really where it's at. That's where you know what to do. That's where you know what he means. That's where you know what he wants. The Torah Shebechsav says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's not what he wants. So you learn you know him through but really Hashem is Echad. So what does it mean that you're getting him? Hashem is the Tachlis of Pshitas. He's the perfect unity, and there is no unity like that. He's Echad, Yachid, and Meyuchad Mamash. Torah Sheba'al Peh is receiving the Rabbeinu Shloilem Mamash from your Rebbe. It's not information. It's the Rabbeinu Shloilem himself. And that means that when a goy reads a newspaper, and the same with when a goy reads the Torah, he's extracting meaning from the words. When a Yid's eyes are exposed to Torah Shebechsav, which includes the Mishnah and the Gemara, and anything that's written down is considered Al Pi Panimis, is considered Torah Shebechsav. It's written down. What's happening is that those words are extracting the Rabbeinu Shalom from him. So when a goy, I'll say it again, when a goy learns, he reads from books, he extracts meaning from the words. When a Yid looks at Torah Shebechsav, it pulls out from him the Torah Sheba'al Peh, meaning the Rabbeinu Shalom. It pulls the Torah, pulls the Rabbeinu Shalom from him. And when the Rabbeinu Shalom is pulled through these words, it ends up looking like this. And when the Rabbeinu Shalom is pulled from these words, it ends up looking like that. You with me? So now, it says in Mishlei, the Pasuk says, Reishis Mishlei Dalad Zayin, if you want to look it up. Reishis Chochma, Knei Chochma, the beginning of Chochmah is to acquire Chochmah. And in all of your acquisitions, you acquire Bina. How much more, what's the word? How much more, cryptic could you get? I'll say it again. The beginning of wisdom is acquiring wisdom. And then in all of your acquisitions, you acquire Bina. Listen to what Rashi says. And this is, I could bring you lots of different proofs of this, but the way I know this is from my Rebbe, not from anything that I've learned from books. Reishis Chochma Kana Chochma. The beginning of Chochma is acquiring Chochma. Techilas Chochmasecha Lamud Me'acherim. The beginning of learning Chochma from others, Kanalacha Shmua Mpi Harav. First things first is you have to be makabel a shmua, hearing from the mouth of your Rav. I'll say it again. The beginning of the way Rashi addresses the pasuk is very kedai to look this up. Okay, it's Rashi, it's Mishlei Dalad Zayin 4:7, and look at the Rashi there because it's good to see it with your eyes. Reish is Chochma Kana Chochma. The beginning of Chochma is acquiring Chochma. The beginning of learning your Chochma from others is Shmua Mepi Harav. You should be makabel a shmua from the mouth of your Rav. V'achakach b'kol kinyan lecha kanabina. And afterwards, in all of your acquisitions, you're going to acquire bina. Tisboinen ba me'atzmach, that you will be mizboinen, you will meditate on it yourself. Lahaskil hatam and davar metoich davar, and you're going to understand this from that. That it will actually, it will grow into a tree. That's when you've been makabel masoira from your Rav, when you've been makabel masoira, which is what we're trying to do, yeah? When you're makabel masoira, you're not makabel information. You have to know that. It's very important. It's like so important. What's it called when we take care of Talmidei Chachamim? What's the word we use? Shimush Talmidei Chachamim. Shimush is Lashon Tashmish. Relations. That's mamash what our relationship with our Rav is his mazriya into us, Zera Kodesh. And Zera, the whole inyan of Zera is it's a yichud. It's not information you're receiving from your Rav. You're receiving the Rabbeinu Shalom from your Rav. And that's assuming that he received the Rabbeinu Shalom from his Rav. And all the way back. That's the Ikka. The Ikka thing when you're trying to work out who your Rav should be is to find out who his Rav was. That is the Ikka mamash. And then you should find out who his Rav was. And you'll find out if he has a tradition all the way back very quickly. But if you want a Rav, don't get sucked into smooth rhetoric and nice jokes. That could also be, but the Ikka is that he has a Rav. And he was Makabel Masoira. Because it's not information. He's Makabel Zera Kodesh from the Rav. He's Makabel Mamash or Zarul Tzadik. He's Makabel Zera from the Rav. And now when his eyes fall on the Mishnah, fall on the Gemara, fall on the Chumash, fall on the Halacha, the Rabbeinu Shalom grows through it. Just like when you put a seed in the ground, yeah? When you put a seed in the ground, the basic way of understanding it is that the ground is the bina and the seed is the chokhmah. You put the seed in the ground and the seed grows. But the way the Balatanya explains it in Negeres HaKodesh, he says like this, the way I understand it, is you put the seed in the ground. The seed is like a filter. And the seed tells the ground what to become. And the ground grows through the seed. The seed doesn't grow. The ground grows just through the seed. The seed is like this DNA filter, whatever you want to call it, that allows the ground to go through a certain, like within the ground is every tree there is. In the ground is orange trees and apple trees and lemon trees and everything, cucumbers and cactuses and oak trees and giant redwoods and weeds, and everything's in the ground. The seed tells the ground not what to be, and gives him a specific instruction of what should come through. Everything else, the potential to be everything else is held back. And just that element of the ground, which is like the moshel for Hashem, like the infinity of the ground, grows through that seed. You with me? And that's exactly how it is with the Torah. That's how it is with the Torah. When we see the words of the Torah, if we've been makabel the zera from our Rav, who was makabel from his Rav, makabel from his Rav, makabel from his Rav, and we go back to Pir Gevura, that's the Torah Sheba'al Peh. When our eyes fall on the Mishnayos and on that reminds us of the Torah Sheba'al Peh. And now if you read the beginning of the Mishnah Torah, you'll see that that's what the Rambam's saying as well. Okay.
Thank you.
we should be zeicha to Chaye Sarah, and all of the Rishoyim should disappear, and all of the tzaddikim should come back to their homes and to their families, and everything should be good. B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, Shabbat Shabbos.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Shabbos.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Shabbos.